Welcome to the next webinar of PM Powered. PM Powered is a project management consulting company, and we are focused on neuroscience. PM Powered can provide consulting, speakers, and training for your project, program, and portfolio managers along with the C-suite. Please check the PM Powered's website at www.pmpowered.com to download a brochure of our offerings or to arrange a 15 minutes of free consulting time with Dr. Wanda Curley. Today, PM Powered is honored to present a webinar discussing neuroscience and project management and why it is important to do research. The webinar will focus on 3 search engines. This webinar will not only give the pros and cons of each search engine, but also discuss why it is important to do your research to be a value-add project program manager. And without further ado, I am Dr. Wanda Curley, and I will be giving this webinar today. So first of all, why do project managers need to do research? If we go in and start a project or a program without understanding even the basics of what your project is all about, then you start behind. So you need to understand the concepts, the things that will give you the information that you need to ask the subject matter experts questions, intelligent questions. And you need to know to assess the reality of the subject matter experts. How many of us have gone into projects and you think the subject matter expert is telling you the truth, and maybe in their mind they are, but they tend to be, they tend to shorten their timelines because they think they can get it done, but in reality, when you think about what they're really doing, it probably can't be done in that amount of time. So doing research will help you focus on getting to that next level of asking questions. So the 3 search engines we're going to look at today are Google Scholar, Semantic Scholar, and Neuroscience Information Framework. And as you can see on this slide, you can see that Google Scholar is at scholar.google.com. The Semantic Scholar is at www.semanticscholar.org. And the third one is at neuinfo.org. So that's November Echo Uniform Info.org. Now, a little bit about Semantic Scholar. Semantic Scholar is actually in a beta version at this point, and it incorporates a little bit of artificial intelligence to help bring in the information that you really need. And we'll go into more detail about this dynamic new platform, but I'm very excited about it. But as I say in this deck, that each of them have their pros and their cons. And we'll go through some of that, and I'll wrap it up at the conclusion of this. We will go through each one. What I'll do is take neuroscience and leadership, and that's where I'll talk a little bit about why it's important for project managers to understand neuroscience. And at this time, I'm just going to relate it to leadership. And then we'll assess each site. So without further ado, let's go into Chrome here. And we're now in Google Scholar. So as you can see up in the URL, it's scholar.google.com. And you'll see some various items at the top here. It's got my library, my citations, alerts, etc. So let's go through each of those. So my library, it's just if you have signed into Google and you want to start a library of things that you are putting together, you can do that. You will have to start a Scholar profile, and you can put in there some of your articles that you have written and published. You can have them in there, and you can enable Google Scholar to put it out on any search that is relevant to your areas. Now, my citations. If you go here, you see that you can track citations of your articles through this. So if you want to know how many times you have been cited in different things, it will send you an item here. But again, you have to sign up for it to show how many times your article has been cited in different scholarly articles. Alerts, you can set up alerts. It's alerts just like any other tool. If you want to alert about any new documents that come out of articles on neuroscience, you can put an alert here, and you just create the alert, and then as often as you want, the alerts will let you know that a new article has been published. Metrics. This is kind of a neat thing. So H5 index, as you can see, H index for articles published in the last 5 complete years. And when you are in academia, the last 5 years are very important in an academic's life. We don't like to look at articles that are much older than 5 years old because science is changing so rapidly that something that was published 10 years ago has probably been overtaken by events. So you can see that the Nature has been, its H article is published from 2011 to 2015 is 379, which is pretty good. And then the median is 560. So that just gives you an idea of what the different journals are doing. You can see the next one is the New England Journal of Medicine. It's pretty popular among medical professionals, whether they are doctors or nurses, etc. So you'll see that it's in there quite a bit. Okay, going back here. Then settings. This is just like settings in anything else. Do you want to search articles, and do you want to include patents within that search? Do you want to search case law, which you can do as well? Then how many you want on your site, etc., and you can go through this. So let's get started here. I actually do not want patents, so I'm going to take that off. And I said we were going to do neuroscience and leadership. So as you can see, it comes up pretty quickly. And you will see several things here. Okay, down at the bottom you'll see that this has been cited by 137 people. So this document, this article by Rock Schwartz has been cited by 137 other articles. You can find related articles. You can find all 18 versions of the article. Evidently they have redone it several times. If you wanted to cite it, it will tell you how to cite it. If you want to save it, you can save it. Now this is the one you really look at, is more, because this one tells you that if you can actually see it from Google Scholar, because many of the articles that you have in Google Scholar you cannot see except for an abstract. So let's click on that and you'll see it takes us to the actual HTML version of it. Chrome allows me to actually download it if I wanted to, or as we have back here, you can click the save and it will save it for you to the library that you wanted to save it from. You can also click on the title, and if you want to do it that way, Chrome allows you to download it, just like most of the other websites that you want to go to. You can either print it or download it, and so you see it here in a more classical version of what it would look like if you were going to it in print. Okay, so let's go on back. Now one of the things you'll notice with Google Scholar is that not a lot of the items are available. This one you can only see the abstract. So I'm opening it up so you can look at it. And you'll see here that you can only see the abstract. Now what you might want to do here, if you are a member of a university, is that you can take down the information here and then go on to a university's library site, and they actually have major databases that most likely have this article. So if you are a member of a university, or if you graduated from a university and they still give you privileges to their library, you may want to do that. But from Google Scholar you cannot download this. Same thing here, and here if you say save, all it's going to save is the abstract. So by saving you are not going to get the whole article. Same here, Neuroscience of Leadership. It's only been cited by one other person. It's got 3 versions of it. They may have published it in 3 different articles, or somebody picked it up after it was originally published. Here you can save, but again, as I mentioned before, since you don't have this more, all you're going to save is the abstract. So that's about it for Google Scholar. So you'll see that not a whole lot of the items are, you can, has the entire item. If you see them more, then you, for example, on this one, it's a library search. It doesn't even take you to the article. You have to go into a library. So as you see, there's only one that shows more, and that was the very first one. So you are somewhat limited. However, if you're just doing a major search to see how much is out there and how much I want to look at, then you can go through this. Now looking over to the left here, you can see My Library or Case Law if you wanted to add something or look at case law. If you wanted to look at any time, you can put some ranges in here if you want it since this year or if you want it since 2013, or you can put a custom range in here, but it's a little clunky. You can sort by relevance, and the only thing they have here is by date, and then they have include citations or include patents. Okay, so let's go into Semantic Scholar. This is the one I'm really excited about. It was created by academics, but wanted something that was, for those of you who are in academia, they wanted something that was a little bit less clunky than EBSCOhost or ProQuest, although I'm not saying anything against them. They just don't have the AI component to it. So let's put neuroscience and leadership in here. And while I'm typing this, let me tell you about neuroscience and leadership. So today, in today's age, they now have functional MRIs. MRIs are pictures of the brain. It slices the brain into very minute slices, not actually, but in digitized fashion, so that it can really see what's going on with your brain. Functional MRIs are actually showing the movement that's going on in the brain when you are doing something. So if, for example, if I were eating a bowl of soup, it would show which parts of the brains are actually functioning when I'm eating a bowl of soup. So the exciting thing now is that neuroscience, we're getting to the point that it's moving into business. So for example, the Center for Brain Health has been able to do functional MRIs where they have developed 3 different types of integrated reasoning. We have a zoom in, that's people that are detail oriented. That might be somebody that's in a PMO that's doing scheduling. We have zoom out, that is good for the project manager that's doing large projects or the program manager that's just starting in that area. And then you have zoom deep and wide. Zoom deep and wide are the portfolio managers, the program managers that have been doing it for a very long time, and the C-suite, because they are looking for strategy. They are tying strategy to projects and programs. Okay, so that's why I'm so excited about this, because I think we're going to see project management change, because as we understand more about neuroscience, we can take it into leadership, we can take it into communications, we can take it into decision making, all those things that make us good project or program manager, and for that matter, good or bad portfolio managers. So here we have, let's get back to Semantic Scholar. You will see that you can slice and dice the information as you want. So before we look at what we have on the right-hand side of the screen, let's go to the left-hand. Here you can go, it shows you that all the articles are either in neuroscience or in computer science. So if you just want to see the ones in neuroscience, you can bring it down a little bit by selecting that, or if let's keep it at all, or if you just wanted to do the computer science. Another thing, and this you have an EBSCOhost and ProQuest as well, is most likely I don't want to see something from 1975 unless I'm doing a history of neuroimaging or neuroscience. So I can just take this over and take it to 2012. Whoops, a little too far. 2012, so that's 5 years. And you can see that it's brought down the number of articles here. Publication type. I can go, do I want to look at only original research? Do I want to look at review of books or of different authors? That would be these reviews. Patient studies. Do I only want to look at something that they had patients that they were studying and mapping out their brain? Possibly. Or do you want commentaries and opinions? There's 4 of those as well. Authors. You can go by authors. Here they have a selection of all the authors here. And if you just want some of those authors, you can select those. Publication venue, that is the journal that it is published in. So you can see all the different types of journals. So if you're interested in just certain, as we call them, A, B, C, or D journals, A being the best, if you know what those are and you want them, you can just select them here. Then we can go even further. If you want to know a specific area of the brain, it takes you even into that area. This is not anything that you can get on Google Scholar. You can't get it on EBSCOhost. You can't get it on ProQuest. Then if you even want to go further down, you can go into the exact cell types that are being used within the brain for this study that you're looking at. The data set used, you know, did they use the GenBank? Did they use AMI meeting corpus, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever type of data set that was used, you can find it here. Key phrases. Are there certain key phrases that you want? If you want to just talk about leaders or leadership, you can select those. If you want all three, then select all three. You can slice and dice it any way you want. The method. What kind of method was used? You know, did they use neurotransmitter indicators, or did they use MRI, or as I was talking about, functional MRIs? So if you're just interested in functional MRIs, there's 85 articles that you could go to. And organism. Do you want to just talk about humans, or do you want to talk about the mouse or zebrafish? Whatever you want, it's got it here as far as the articles themselves are concerned. Okay, so let's go look at the articles. We did bring it down to the last 5 years. You will see that many of them say view in PDF, and I have found that on Semantic Scholar, almost everything is on view PDF, you will see here, okay? And that means it's the entire article. So if I open up on view PDF, you can see it's right here. Okay. You can see if there were related publications that use this. The more gives you how to cite it, if you want to save it, and if you want to see less, of course, it takes it over. There's just so much here. When I was doing I just recently wrote a paper on neuroscience and project management and using cognition. I was really struggling because I went to EBSCOhost, I went to ProQuest, I even used the librarian at several of the universities, and I just could not get the information that I needed. I came here and I was just amazed how quickly I was able to slice and dice by using Boolean strings. I was able to get what I needed, and then I could slice and dice it even further using the items on the left-hand bar there. So you can go on and on with Semantic Scholar, and you can see there's a lot of pages here of information. And if I want to narrow it down, you can narrow it down even further. So I'm not going to go any more about Semantic Scholar, but I would highly recommend that you join it, in which I have. I did not sign in here, but that even gives you more information that you can go to. So the last one, and I won't be spending as much time about this one, is Neuroscience Information Framework. Now this one only will allow you to see information that is within their framework. In other words, there are different areas in neuroscience that are members of this organization, so you'll only see it from that perspective. So let's type in neuroscience and leadership, and we'll go over here and click this. It will take it a little bit to churn because what it brings back are databases. It doesn't bring you back actual articles. This search engine is really for hardcore folks that are doing neuroscience. So I don't foresee somebody that's doing project management in this unless they do healthcare project management. So for example, if you're doing pharma or you're doing medical devices or things of that nature, then you might be in this area. But for project managers that are outside of healthcare, this is probably a little bit too in-depth than what is needed. But as I mentioned, it takes you to different databases. It does not take you to actual articles. And on most of these databases, you have to be members of those databases to see the information, or else they're going to charge you to download the article. Again, what you might use it for is if you find an article that you think is worthwhile looking at, you might want to take down the authors and the title. Then if you are a member of a university and can use their library, go into one of their databases and look at it. So that's about it for all of those. So let's go back into the PowerPoint here. And let's go to conclusions right now. So Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a good foundation to get you started. You can see what's available, what's out there. Some of the things are available on Google Scholar, but understand that not all of it is scholarly. Some of it will be in trade journals, which if you're an academic, we don't consider it to be scholarly per se. But if you are looking at it from a perspective of a project or a program manager or portfolio manager, it's absolutely worthwhile because it tells you what's going on. It's limited access to some articles, as I showed you. You only can see abstracts in many occasions, and an abstract is just the marketing material for that article. So it should give you the highlights of it. What was the article about? What were some of the major findings and recommendations that they might have? Now, Semantic Scholar is the one that I'm absolutely excited about because it has the artificial intelligence capacity within it. It mimics a lot of what you see in EBSCOhost and ProQuest because it was developed by scholars, academic scholars, I should say. And so the search engine, to me, is a search engine on steroids for those of us that are looking to do something that's kind of different than what you would normally do on a Boolean search in a typical library database. PDFs are available. Of every article I was looking for, I think, and I downloaded 50 articles. There was only one article I could not get. And I went to my university's library and I was able to download it there. You can download straight from the search engine. Of course, you can do that from Google Scholar if it's available. And there's many ways to slice and dice the information, as we saw. Neuroscience Information Framework, again, that is hardcore science, and it's done via databases. So unless you are a member of that database, most likely you're not going to get to it. And then finally, I want to thank you for taking this time, and in a future webinar, we will go through these in more detail, and we will also talk about project management, program management, and portfolio management, and how neuroscience can help you do very well to make sure that your projects and your programs and your portfolios succeed and are not in that realm of failures. Thank you for your time.